If you have not already done so, please follow the Cowboys Report on Instagram. We're posting plenty of reels over there, trying to grow on that platform as well. So help us out. Follow us at Cowboys Report IG. I'll link it in the comments and the description of today's show. Christopher Donner, wait a minute. Need to sign Henry or Jacobs, need a power back, Steven, make the deal. It depends on how much these guys cost. I don't want to pay a running back who are coming off down years, frankly, $10 million. It's a good free agent class, though, in the backfield. You can find a very good player for a value. You can win the deal and make Steven happy, which he always, of course, wants to do. So I certainly would explore that if I were Dallas. Doesn't have to be even Henry or Jacobs because you got to fix your ground game scheme and your O-line as well, but you should sign a back in free agency. From Chris B., rather be where the Bills are. Actually tried and now have to retool. This team doesn't want to win, period. It's a drama show. Catboy absolutely sucks. You know what's funny is the Bills aren't even that aggressive relative to other teams. If Trey White had been healthy, they probably would have extended him, but he wasn't healthy. Mitch Morse is getting up there in age. Jordan Poyer, I was actually kind of surprised by that one. The other moves were, they cut some old guys and moved on to free up cap space. They'll restructure Josh Allen's deal. They aren't as aggressive as other teams, but they still were more aggressive than you have been. And don't give me the Josh Allen contract was cheap. Yeah, so was Dak's. And they didn't sign anybody in free agency. From Max, thoughts on Schultz's comments. I assume this means the culture stuff that Schultz chimed off on. Multiple things are true. What Schultz said is true. It's not for everybody. You have to be super mentally tough, and frankly, I don't think Dalton Schultz is. I think that's why he's got me blocked on Twitter, because he was searching his own name after games. What do you expect's going to happen there, Dalton? But I also found it weird that people were like, oh, that's not true. It's the exact same complaints we as fans have made. Like, we have complained about the way this culture is, the country club Cowboys, right? The brand mattering more than the results. So both things are true. Schultz is kind of softy. It's fine. I don't hold it against him. He was right, because other players have said that as well. And it's fine when you're in it, and then once you go, maybe that wasn't the best thing for me. It's not for everybody, but it's also frustrating, because be normal sometimes. So do you think, and disagree with Jerry Jones, that the Cowboys have a culture problem? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. GSE Phoenix Rain. This year boasts a treasure trove of top free agents. We'll wait and see this all-in approach. Jerry's too senile, Steven's too dim-witted. There is no all-in approach. It's not. All-in for them, when you go back and listen to the full context of Jerry's quotes, he made the all-in comment about paying other players. He means paying CeeDee Lamb probably in the summer. He means paying Micah Parsons at some point in the next calendar year. That's what he meant. The actual business stuff is not going to change. It's just not going to happen. And that's, I know, very frustrating for many. From not Jeremy Chuggs' burner, I think this team has gotten worse every year. With a minor step forward this past year, this no money spent method is not sustainable. When the rest of the top teams in the NFL are spending money in free agency and you're not, and they're winning more than you are, maybe that's a sign that's a problem for you. But it's because the Cowboys' goal isn't to raise another Lombardi, to raise another banner. It's make the playoffs. That is their goal. They are riding the wave of parity. They're at the peak of the parity wave, not going with the highs and lows. They're just riding along the middle, winning 9 to 10 games as long as the quarterback stays healthy. They're not, falling apart and having a bad season. They are perfectly content with that because there is a severe lack of urgency within this organization. A little bit of desperation can be a good thing, but when your daddy owns the team and you're never going to get fired if you're Steven, there's no urgency. Gary Sanderson, how would you feel about Edgerrin Cooper round 1, Christian Hayes round 2, and the tackle from Yale, I forgot to pronounce his name, in round 3? The Yale tackle in round 3, yes, although he's raw and needs time to learn to be a starter. Cooper and Hayes, just kind of feels like a half round early for me, if not a full round early. I like Edgerrin Cooper. He'll be a top 40 player for me. I like Christian Hayes. He'll be a top 60, 70 player, so maybe 75 player. But I feel like that's just an okay draft. I think you can get a better tackle in round 1. Steve, Derrick Henry bought a house in Dallas. He's a Cowboy, right? No. Derrick Henry has owned a house in Dallas for several years now, or at least the greater Dallas area, if we're including some of the stuff up north. This is not new. He trains in Dallas every single offseason. That is also not new. His, I think, pregnant girlfriend, kid number 2 on the way for him, I believe, is from the Texas area. This is just what he does. Because when you're a multi-million-dollar athlete, you can have a house where you work and a house where you work in the offseason. So what is your confidence level in the Dallas Cowboys as a team right now? Scale it from 1 to 10 in the comments section. 1, should the Cowboys address defensive need in free agency and offense in the draft? In an ideal world, the Cowboys would actually fill all of their needs in free agency before the draft, or at least a stopgap fill, right? You would have kept Tyron Smith. You would have signed a cheap veteran center. You would have added a cheap wideout for depth. Maybe you feel okay with that. You would have signed one running back, Pollard or somebody else as well. You would have signed a defensive tackle, maybe a defensive end, added some cheap depth like an Armon Watts, signed at least one linebacker, kept Gilmore or Lewis, and that way you got to the draft, and you can just pick the best player on your board no matter what, and that is how you maximize the draft. What is more likely, they're going to have a gaping hole at left tackle and or left guard, and they're going to have to fill needs through the draft, which I don't love when they do. Now, if you want to rock some sweet NFL Jam gear from Fanatics, not from Cowboys website, you can get Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. Maybe Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs has more long-term stability, or the best stability of Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/Cowboys Jam. I have that shirt myself. Oftentimes on sale, so keep an eye on that. chatsports.com/Cowboys Jam. Daniel M. I still trust we will improve this roster, but waiting on Dak is not an option. This free agency class is too good to wait on Dak. I fear that's what they're going to do. Maybe they'll restructure and it'll have some money available there, but they just don't. They haven't even tried yet. At least the last report as of filming on our Thursday live show. They're not trying to do anything. And that's honestly more disappointing than them not being able to work out a deal. Not even having contact. As if they have leverage somehow. It's just stupid. The Great Duke Bothers. Are we more screwed at offensive line or linebacker? I think right now, linebacker is a bigger concern for me. I think come draft time, you'll feel better about your linebacking core. In the end, I think I'd lean offensive line because that's 5 guys as opposed to 2.5 for linebacker. I saw Dallas Morning News say, don't worry about replacing Tyron Smith. That author was drunk on Kool-Aid. Not worry about replacing a Hall of Fame player? I'm going to worry about it. Because they're like, we'll just draft somebody. That's probably what's going to happen. You also don't control that fully. There could be a massive run on tackles before you pick, and you might get screwed. So yes, I am going to worry about that. Don't miss any quarterback or Cowboys news, Hit that sub button right now here on YouTube for more free Cowboys videos multiple times each day. From Lance Dunbar's burner, I wouldn't be surprised if the first deal was a Hunt Lipke extension for 5 years. I know you're trolling. I will make note, though, you actually can't pay Lipke or any of your UDFAs for 2 more years. So keep that in mind. From DashXL, I don't get why people want to trade Parsons. Why trade him? All you're doing is filling a need, but also cause a new need with a trade, plus he is too impactful. Yeah, I don't really want to trade one of the most productive passers of the first 3 years of their career. I know he's going to be crazy expensive. That's fine. The cap goes up every single year, like by massive figures. I mean, you could give him $5 million more than Bosa got per year, and it's actually cheaper relative to the salary cap than what Bosa got. Like, that's not really an issue for me once you I know there's the sticker shock involved. I totally get that. But when you compare it to the relative cap stuff, it's not that bad. It's expensive, but I don't know. I'd rather keep my really good football players. I'm not in the business of trading away all pros, but that's just me. From Carl, is Jamal Adams the next Earl Thomas for Dallas? Yeah. Made sense at the time. Then he went somewhere else, and then it kind of all fell apart. Hopefully there's no weird brother stuff with Jamal Adams either. Do you want him? I don't even know if Chris knows about that story. Do you know about? You don't know about that, do you? You don't need to know. You don't even know about the Earl Thomas stuff. That's funny. I'll tell you later off air. Do you want Jamal Adams on the Cowboys? S for sign, P for pass. Vote in the comments. From Brokrov, A.D. Mitchell falls, or Brokov, I might have mispronounced that. A.D. Mitchell falls to the Cowboys. Do they pull the trigger? If they filled their other needs and don't have a gaping hole on the left side of the offensive line, I'd be down. That's my wide receiver 4. I think he's a fun outside threat. I think the interviews are going to matter a lot for him, but the talent and the freak upside is there. He's worth it. Do they need an offensive lineman more? Chris Pete, Catboy worried about cap space, yet we in the red. And they'll get in the black really easily. It's a matter of how far in the black do they go. We'll see. Roy Williams moved TJ Bass to left tackle and draft Graham Barton to play center. I would put Bass at left guard and put Tyler Smith over there at the left guard, the left tackle spot. Let me pull up the arm length on TJ Bass. I know that was a big issue for a lot of teams coming out. Barton can play center though. TJ Bass's arm length is 32 and 5/8 inches. I don't think the Cowboys, since they've been tracking that length, have ever played someone at tackle with that sort of arm length. It's shockingly short. It's even shorter than what Zach Martin's was, and they made him a guard in the end. So I don't think he can hold up at tackle, but left guard he certainly could. So that is a viable plan as well, or insert any center for the Cowboys.